Hello and welcome to Digital Transformation for Humans with your host, Emi. In this podcast, we delve into how technology intersects with leadership, innovation, and most importantly, the human spirit. Each episode features visionary leaders who understand that at the heart of success is the human touch, nurturing a winning mindset, fostering emotional intelligence, and building resilient teams. Today, we'll talk about strategic digital transformation. Loek Berendsen from the Netherlands is our fantastic guest today. Welcome, Loek.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much for having me on your show today. I really look forward to having this conversation and actually brainstorm a little bit.
It's fantastic to have you here today, Loek. Let's start the conversation and transform not just our technologies, but our ways of thinking and leading. And if you are interested in connecting or collaborating, find more information in the description and subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes. So, Loek, to start with, please tell a few words about yourself, about your journey, about all those fantastic companies you have been supporting and working with, and everything you have to share with us today.
I'll try in a nutshell, Amy. I've been almost for 2 decades, don't tell anyone, in retail and customer experience and digitalization. It has always been where technology meets people, or at least it should. And I've helped large brands like Vodafone and IKEA and Echo and many others across the world in how to focus on your experience for customers and employees and how to enable it from a digital point of view in the digital arena or even different types of technologies. And for me, it's about working with people for customers to just make better experiences.
It sounds amazing and it is so important. So you are exactly that type of leader who has been there, done that, and now you are here to share all your brilliant insights with all of us. So what are some common pitfalls companies face during digital transformation and how can they be avoided?
It's an excellent question, Amy, because those teams, those departments, digital people, they have a different mindset, a good mindset, but they think forward, they think in possibilities, they want to recreate, they want to improve, they seek for solutions and opportunities. And it's really, really important to connect and collaborate with those who are not in the digital department. Because if you stop communicating, if you're not aligned perfectly and seamless with those around you in different types of departments, you are disconnected. And then it's really hard to represent the company. And those in other teams, other departments, they even feel like, oh, that's a digital team. They just do whatever they want. They run forward, but they don't think about us. They don't know what it's really all about. And that's why communication and alignment and continuous collaboration, it's like it should be on the top of the agenda every week, every month of what you're doing in a digital team.
I love this point because I've been stumbling upon exactly the same experience through different companies. The cross-functional collaboration is something so crucial, and oftentimes it is just down prioritized because everybody is super focused on their own agenda. And it's easy to forget that everybody is working for the goals which are bigger than one function in a company, right?
It's about that human aspect, and don't just think in solutions or measurable outcomes. It's also you want to create a great experience for your customers or the users of your tools and your platforms or your shopping environment. And you need to make sure that the other teams, the other departments are on the same train in the same direction and work together with you for the greater good.
Totally. I so agree with you. Can you tell us about a case from your experience where a strategic approach to digital transformation dramatically improved those business outcomes? Something about how cross-functional collaboration and communication helped out reaching fantastic results, and how you could impact the outcomes through the optimization of those processes.
Mm, mm. Amy, I have a question for you. Do you know still how a fax machine looks like?
More or less. The memory is very blurry, to be honest.
Yeah. It was quite blurry for me as well. Until like 5, 6 years ago, I actually ran into a digital transformation program where some markets of our business were still heavily relying on the fax machine. And that was
Impressive.
also because there was a certain need from customers and clients to actually use the fax machine. It was very different because it was a European role, it was a European business. The behavior was very different from each market. In some markets, they were heavily relying on the fax machine. And of course, in UK and the Netherlands and the Nordics, it was much more digitalization and more front runners on, okay, how can we digitally capture what's needed? So I stepped in and I actually started researching why are these markets still relying on the fax machine? Why is it so important for them to use it? And we actually discovered that it was a lot about the investments of the small business owners who needed the fax machine to send over orders to our business.
Mm.
So instead of using a laptop or a computer and having someone doing the data entry to create those orders and then we would receive them, they would still fill out paper forms which were like pre-printed and you could fill in the numbers and the product IDs and then it would be faxed. So there was actually a need behind the digitalization why people weren't transforming the way they potentially could. So we had to come up with ideas on, okay, how can we maybe still help our customers, not pushing them into the digitalization. We actually help them in becoming more digital. We created like courses and how that can be transformed and how they could use the internet or an email to place different types of orders. But we also still allow them to use it. And then we would use a software solution where they could fax to a number, but it would be digitalized and we would have it like digitally in the systems and all automated. So sometimes you want to achieve a very specific goal and you want to run into a direction because you feel it's the right thing to do, which it definitely was. But then on the other hand, you always need to look behind for the story behind it because you need to understand why is your customer behaving in a very specific way. And in, like I said with the previous question, like we're in a digital world. You, me, we deal with this every day, every moment in time, and you're like in your perfect bubble of digitalization. But there are many people who don't use it, never used it, don't want to use it, and for good reasons. So you need to understand their story and then maybe try to help them to, get on that boat together with you and, make a change in their process and their systems, because you're also impacting their way of behaving and work and life.
That's big, and that is one of those make it or break it points where the change and transformation really happens. But so often I have seen that digital transformation was more about the technical part, about the logical part, and the human factor was left behind. All those whys of the people who were part of this ecosystem, they were almost neglected. And
Mm,
of course, then you get such a level of resistance that it's
mm.
difficult to implement new processes, new technologies, and new solutions. So I have seen that as well, and it's amazing that you mention it because it is really important.
This it's like understanding why you're doing something. It's like you want a car because you need a car, but you need to know the story behind the reason why you want a car. Because is it for groceries, or is it bringing for your kids to the school? Is it for something else? Do you want to be a Formula One driver? Different reasons to have that car. So don't immediately deep dive in the tech, but first take a step back and really start to understand what should it bring to us? What's real value?
Totally. But how do you prioritize investments in technology to ensure the best return in terms of customer satisfaction and business growth? Tell a little bit about that part because it is so important. And today, when AI is booming and there are so many powerful technologies on the market, and at the same time, the horizon of what is easy to predict is so much shorter than it's been before. It is
Mhm.
quite an important question for the leaders how to invest in the sustainable way, in the way where they can be relatively safe with that part of investment and know that it will bring that value they are searching while they are going for the decision like that.
Yeah, it's another big question. It gave me those gray hairs that you see around here as well, because it's so complex. The biggest challenge I see is many leaders. They're with a business. They're in a specific role, maybe 3, 4 years, and some of those questions you want to have answered or the solutions that you want to implement, they outreach those 3 or 4 years. So a leader needs to invest in something he or she will not be rewarded for or recognized for because it's a longer time span and it takes much more time. And especially if you want to do a real transformation in the digital world and you're making decisions based on behavior in customers or experience and what you really want to achieve, it sometimes takes a lot of time, especially if you take the foundation of a business and the technical solution and you want to improve and change it. It's a long-term investment where you say, oh, this CRM or ERP system needs to be replaced. You don't do that overnight. It takes a lot of time and effort. And making those decisions, like what tool, what solution, what technology do we need, it should be based on who do we want to be for the outside world? Who do we want to be for our colleagues? So what is our customer really looking for, and how can we help them in their journey, making a better experience and better engagement, easier, seamless, all of that. So if you talk about prioritizing those investments, it's like understanding your customers, it's understanding your colleagues, and then start making subsets of what's needed and how to get there and how to move forward. And it takes time. And you need to break those down. I've seen too many times, for example, on the topic of omnichannel, they want to have one omnichannel solution. And it's too much. You need to break it down in customer experience, in clienteling, in the sales engine, in the fulfillment engine, in communication with marketing. And all those breakdowns need to be breakdown again, because you want then to have a business case around, okay, how is this going to be helping us in creating better experiences? How does it help us in making more revenue? How does it help us in saving money? How does it help us in having less silos and everything to be connected? So how do you prioritize them? Don't always go for the quick wins. Yes, we should go for low-hanging fruit. But low-hanging fruit is something else than a quick win, because then you're making all those smaller investments that do not contribute to a cohesion, bigger objective. Because then everybody starts to reinvent the wheel. Then every department just does what they want to do because there's no connection. And I think that's my biggest thing. Make sure there's an overall strategy on experience within CXO, and make sure that there's an overall strategy on making sure the digitalization, the tool, the technology nicely works together across the departments.
It does make a lot of sense. And it's super important to follow that type of logics, because a lot of many leaders, they prefer quick wins because it's easier to navigate in terms of easy wins to present as well and move forward, right? And it's always more difficult to stand for something what is not visible for years of hard work and heavy investment. And as somebody who has been working with analytics and data, I know how much you have to pump in and how hard you have to work for a long time until it becomes visible for the organization, not only for those unique, lucky ones who are working with that project. So, of course, it is not obvious, but it is important as well to be brave, to have courage as a leader.
Yeah. And also think about, if you're making those long-term investments, how can it still reflect on you? Because I agree, you need to have deliverables, and of course you want to bring results and it should be measurable. But even if you do long-term initiatives, it is possible because you break them down in little pieces while you actually started a big movement within the company.
Of course. And that's about the clarity of vision, which I like reminding about, because without clarity of vision, it is impossible to align all the participants and everything what's needed in order to come there.
Yeah, true.
I totally agree. So the last but not least question, super valuable. I'd like to share some wisdom of yours with our listeners and viewers now. If you give one advice to everybody about these processes and today's topic, what would it be? How to succeed?
Have someone who has a neutral position without a hidden agenda, like a head of experience. Of course, then the objective is the experience. I've seen too many times, if there's someone in marketing or sales or digital and driving one very specific agenda, it's harder to create a bigger movement within the company and have everybody join that digital transformation. While if there's more like someone with a neutral and neutral role and supporting what needs to be done, then you create better synergy and better communication and better alignment, because it's all about managing your stakeholders and making sure everybody is aligned on the topic, everybody understands what's in it for me. Because if you have everybody on board on the digitalization journey, then it's easier to get things done. And what you want to achieve is that someone from a department, somewhere you've never spoken to, knows about how you, as a department, as a leader, can help them in their challenge, in their problem, and their questions, and that they actually come forward to you and say, hey, we want to do a digitalization in our department, in our team. Can you actually help us make it happen? And that's what you want to achieve. It's not about you, it's about how to make a better digital environment in the company.
That is a great wrap up to our today's conversation, and I'm sure that this advice will be helpful for so many leaders while they are going through those exciting but also challenging transformative processes. Thank you so much, Luke, for being with us today and sharing your light and wisdom. It was a great pleasure to see you and get a part of your experience. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me, Amy. And I look forward to the outcome of this podcast and your other guests. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Digital Transformation for Humans. I'm Amy, and it was enriching to share this time with you. Remember, the core of any transformation lies in our human nature, how we think, how we feel, and how we connect with others. It is about enhancing our emotional intelligence, embracing a winning mindset, and leading with empathy and insight. Subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes where we uncover the latest trends in digital business and explore the human side of technology and leadership. Until next time, keep nurturing your mind, fostering your connections, and leading with heart.